Um,
Great.
Everybody, if you don't know who Valerie is, you're in luck because she's with us today and she's going to give the Dharma talk. And she's a dear friend and a Dharma transmitted teacher and a sewing teacher extraordinaire with a long history in Soto Zen Buddhism, and she brings such wisdom and compassion to her work that I really admire her on so many levels. And I would love to just let her talk. And then after she talks, we'll sit for a few minutes, and then if you have any questions for Valerie or discussion, we'll do that then. Thank you, Valerie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cynthia and Kirk, for the invitation to be here. And it's so good to see all of you. Yay. This is wonderful. I love Cell and Soto Zen. What can I say? You're so good, so wholehearted. Um, I thought I'd talk today about what is a teacher of the Dharma. And I want to take this up because now, correct me if I'm wrong on these dates here, but I think in May, Brian Goller received lay entrustment. Is that correct? Yeah. Um, and then in July, Steve Given had Dharma transmission, and both of those, in different ways, convey formal permission to teach. So, given those two auspicious events within the last few months, one of which I got to be there for, I get to be there for Steve's, and I vicariously got to be there for Brian's because of his Rakusu. So, so I had some hand in this, which was just lovely, of seeing these two become teachers. I thought maybe I'd just take up what does it mean to be a Buddhist teacher? What does it mean to be a teacher of the Dharma? And even if you don't have aspirations to be a teacher yourself, what do you look for in a teacher? So that's what I'd like to take up tonight is what does it mean to be a teacher of the Dharma? As you know, 2,500 years ago, the historical Buddha said, I teach one thing and one thing only, the cause and end of suffering. That sounds like two things, so maybe he wasn't so good at math. But actually, it is one thing. To know the cause of suffering is then to get a clue about the end. And so, from the Buddha's very first statement about what he wanted to teach, we get the idea that teachers of the Dharma aren't going to be like the academic teachers we all had for years and years and years. Unlike those teachers of Buddhism aren't here to fill our heads with facts and dates and unpronounceable names. They're not here to give us a test and a grade. Unfortunately, they're not here to fix our life. Rat thought they could do that for us. They're not here to approve of us as much as we would love to have their approval. They're not here to judge us. And most importantly, they are not here to help us build a fortress of competence and knowledge. They are not here to help us build a fortress of facts. And as someone who was very guilty of building her own fortress of competence and hiding inside it for many years, I wasn't able to get that from Buddhist teachers, darn it. They weren't going to help me put the bricks in my fortress of competence so I could look like I knew what I was talking about. Uh-oh. Oh, who would I be without my facts and figures? In fact, there's actually a really strong bias against that kind of stuff. In Buddhism, Huangbo said very colorfully that practitioners who rely on others' knowledge are, quote, gobblers of dregs. You. In other words, taking somebody else's knowledge and then thinking you've got it is terribly wrong-headed. In fact, Wang Bo went on to say, there are no teachers of Zen. His entire quote was, I don't say that there is no Zen. I say there are no teachers of Zen. And the reason for that is because, as we all have figured out by now, perhaps to our sorrow, the only one who can teach us Zen is us. The only Zen we can truly know is the Zen in the mirror. Dogen in the Fukan Zazengi said, you should therefore cease from practice based on intellectual understanding, pursuing words and following after speech, and learn the backward step that turns your light inwardly and illuminates yourself. Or as Uchiyama Roshi said in his inimitable style, anyone who ever thought they were going to read a book and get enlightened is severely delusional. So thinking that a teacher is going to enlighten us or a book is going to enlighten us is very wrong-headed. Exemplified by one of my very favorite stories in the Zen canon. So I'm going to tell it because I like it, and it's one of my favorites. You all know it. It's the story of Teishan and the Tea Woman. Teishan was a renowned scholar and teacher of the Diamond Sutra, and he was traveling around with his commentaries loaded on his back. That was his fortress. His fortress was his commentaries on the Diamond Sutra. He had much of the sutra memorized. He was a scholar of it in every way, shape, and form. Nobody could match him. And he was going to a teaching assignment, and he came across a tea shop run by an old woman. And he began to expound his vast knowledge of the sutra to her. And when he was finished, the woman asked a clarifying question, as students often do. She said, so the Diamond Sutra says that past mind, present mind, and future mind cannot be grasped. Is that correct? And Teishan said, yes, that's right. And then the tea woman asked, then with which mind will you drink this tea? And Teishan was struck dumb, realizing his own ignorance, that he couldn't get his book learning out of the way to enjoy a simple cup of tea. I love this story because to me it's one of the saddest stories in all of our study, and it especially hits home because I can relate to Tayshaun. I got straight A's. I graduated first in my high school class. And I got A's right up until I started to get F's in my life. Not in my academic study, but in my life. So all that book learning wasn't any help at all. So a teacher of the Dharma is not about that. They may know the facts and figures of Buddhism. They may know the stories. But most importantly, teachers of the Dharma know these three things that have nothing to do with an academic, fact-based approach to Buddhism. And the three things are these. Number one, teachers of the Dharma know that help isn't coming. There's no knight in shining armor. There's no savior. It's up to us to end our own suffering. The only savior that's coming is the one in the mirror. And so the teacher acts as a mirror to see us and reflect back to us so that we can see ourselves. The second thing that teachers of the Dharma know is that perspective relieves suffering. This is technically known as right view in Buddhism. So it, as you have probably already discovered, it does not help to have the correct answer in Buddhism. It does not help to have the book answer, because the teacher is still going to give you a different one. They're going to give you a different perspective. This is the source of all the no in Buddhism, particularly in the Heart Sutra. And worst of all, in the Diamond Sutra. The Diamond Sutra is the Sutra of no. You think the Heart Sutra is bad, take up the Diamond Sutra. It's no, 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 and no. And the reason for this is because we grasp our perspective and we stick to it and we cling to it. In fact, in the Buddha's time, views were considered the most pernicious intoxicant. The fifth precept, a disciple of the Buddha does not intoxicate mind or body of self or others, meaning to cling to views is considered a very pernicious intoxicant. And so the teacher's job is to offer a different perspective always. Even if you have a good answer, they will offer a different perspective. As Hakuin said, don't seek the truth, just let go of your opinions. This is what a teacher helps us do. And the third thing that a teacher knows is that they know that the most important thing that they can give to a student isn't knowledge, it's courage. In the Buddhist time, the most important aspect of dana paramita, the first paramita of generosity, the most important thing you could give was not money or material goods, it was courage. And it takes some courage to turn that light inwardly and to look in the mirror. And that's what a teacher knows. So related to these three things that a teacher knows are the three tasks of a teacher. The first one is to help us to open our heart to our experience. In case 23 of the Book of Serenity, Tiandong says, even if you can explain it thoroughly, it can't compare to personally arriving once. This is why when you study the precept, the teacher is going to ask you, what's your version of this? What's your story about not killing and not stealing? Don't repeat the precept back to me. Tell me what it means to you. Tell me what your experience is with this. The second task of a teacher, based on their expounding of the Dharma, is to accompany us on the journey. Because to turn that light inwardly shows us some scary stuff that it's very hard to face alone. When I first started sitting, I was a single parent. I had my daughter during the week, and my ex-husband had her on the weekends. And on those weekends, I would go to Green Gulch and sit with the Sangha. And that was where I would look at the hard stuff. I would sit on my cushion during the week, but if there was something that I knew I couldn't handle coming up, I would wait until I had those 50 or 80 people around me in the Green Gulch Sendo, and then I would look. And there was a teacher, and I could go to Dokusan. So one of the major jobs of a teacher is accompaniment, to not fix us, but to be with us while we look inside. And the third task of a teacher, again, not to fill our heads with knowledge about the Dharma, but to show us how to be the Dharma. More importantly than any words that a teacher might say or write is how they show up. And Catherine and I actually had an experience of this morning. I offer an outdoor sewing class on Sunday mornings for Catherine and one of her compatriots, Norbert. And just by how we were at this picnic table over in a small strip mall near my home, a woman felt that she could approach us and ask her question. And her question was, how do we bring peace in this crazy, volatile world? She didn't know what we knew. She barely knew that we were Buddhists, and only because I told her. But she knew because of how we were, that we were approaching the world differently. So the major part of a teacher's job is to show up as the Dharma, not to expound it as Taishan was trying to do, but to be it. Because the test of Buddhism is our life. It's not a multiple choice test. The teacher isn't going to quiz us on what were Dogen's years, or what does this particular story mean. It's how do we apply this to our life, and a teacher helps us do that. A teacher helps us build our own answer key to the test of our life, helps us identify the ways we cause suffering and how we can stop doing that. And most importantly, perhaps a teacher helps us learn to navigate life's bumps and potholes rather than throwing more rocks in the road. This is otherwise known as suffering. So I'd like to end my talk tonight with a story of one teacher and one student. As you probably know, the historical Buddha had a son named Rahula. And the Buddha had some teachings for his son. So I'm going to give you a few of them. Cynthia and Kirk both have the full text. It's called the Rahulavada, the Sutras for Rahula. And here's what this one teacher taught his child. Develop the meditation on loving kindness, Rahula, for by developing loving kindness, ill will is abandoned. Develop the meditation on compassion, Rahula, for by developing compassion, cruelty is abandoned. Develop the meditation on sympathetic joy, Rahula, for by developing sympathetic joy, aversion is abandoned. Develop the meditation on equanimity, Rahula, for by developing equanimity, hatred is abandoned. Develop the meditation on impurity, Rahula, for by meditating on impurity, lust is abandoned. Develop the meditation on the concept of transience, Rahula, for by meditating on the concept of transience, pride of self is abandoned. So this is the essence of what a Dharma teacher teaches. And imagine what the world would be like if all teachers, all parents taught this, and all students learned compassion and wisdom as their primary lesson.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll sit for a few minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes. And Steve, what do you want to ring the bell? Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Valerie, I was very moved by your talk. Thank you. It was, every statement rang true. And I couldn't help but do the comparison. You know, how am I? How am I as a teacher? How am I? You know, which is where we get ourselves in trouble all the time. And but I guess it would be worth mentioning that teachers are human, and there's all kinds of different teachers, and not all of them embody the statements that Valerie made about what a teacher should be. So just caution you when you're thinking about getting a teacher or asking someone if they will be your teacher, to make sure it's someone that doesn't just mirror back to you all the Buddha in you, but they can mirror back what's actually true in you. And there's a lot of talk about misbehaving teachers and all that, but that's a whole nother subject. You know, what Valerie's talking about is an ideal, and somebody who embodies compassion and wisdom. There's, I belong to the Soto Zen Buddhist Association. There is uh, a membership application to become a member. And if you're a teacher, a Dharma transmitted teacher, it's this very detailed questionnaire about all of your experience, all the sutras you've read, all the sittings that you've been to, all that, which it's been thought of for years as a little bit over the top. And because some of us, have sat lots and lots of sessions and can't remember what the dates are, that kind of thing. We've read lots of sutras. We don't really remember every single detail. So they've changed the membership application to make it a little more general, which I think is so much better, because I would really prefer to have a teacher that wasn't so concerned with the academic side of it that they lose sight of our lives and how we bring practice into our real everyday lives. And that's the kind of teacher I want to be, the kind of teacher that knows some things, but also is able to relate to a student in how they're going through their suffering, how they're uncovering these things about themselves, and how it's playing out in their real life. So it's just a wonderful talk. Valerie, thank you so much. Kirk, would you like to?
Thank you. Valerie, thank you. That was beautiful. I guess for people that don't know, Valerie's been such a tremendous role model and teacher for me. I went to the Valerie Beer School of Soto Zen priest training. Like, we had some days where Valerie came to my house in San Francisco and she taught me almost everything. It's quite wonderful. But Valerie, I'm so grateful to you. Like, I've known you for a while now, but you're very consistent. Like, I love that about you. And then always sincere. like, I just never get the sense that you're being performative, like, trying to impress people or flashing around with credentials or anything like that. Like, you really embody the Dharma, like for me, like in the way you act, like you're in conduct. You have a lot of presence and you meet other people with respect. And, I just really feel like the way you are, it's inspirational to me because I feel like you really express the Dharma in the things you do. So, it's just, I've known a lot of Zen Buddhist teachers by now, and, they are all human. There's no question about that. But um, there's something in the way you move that moves something in me. And so, thank you. Thank you for today and your generosity. So, totally love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirk and Cynthia. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Valerie is my unofficial teacher, heart teacher.
Thank you.
And I wanted to reiterate that because I get constant support from her, and so do we all.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Steve?
I have learned over the years of being a teacher that this whole bit about how you show up, not so much what comes out of your mouth, but how you show up is so important. As I was saying, Catherine and Norbert and I had this experience today, just sitting out having a sewing class under the trees. Uh, and I've had this happen before of the and you probably have too, of teachers that you've experienced of this uh, safety. Um, Not that they're going to, tell you how good and wonderful you are and all that, but that you're a safe person to have your karmic fill in the blank. I won't say those words on the on the recording, but to have your karmic stuff with, that you're a safe person for that. Doesn't mean you're not going to challenge them. You are, of course. It's part of being the mirror, but you're not going to laugh at them, not going to tease them, not going to tell them that they're overreacting or that they're being too sensitive or, or all of that. But that um, you're a safe person to look inside with. So I think that's helpful. The dark side of this is that I have also learned in all of these years that karma doesn't go away by itself. And so let's not generate stuff that we're then going to have to spend all of our time undoing rather than being kind and loving, and having and not being able to be the kind and loving because we have to undo bad behavior. So it's just easier to behave dharmically, can I say. Anyway, I've discovered that. Anyway, I think we get to questions. Is that where we are at this point in this? Yeah.
It's
I'm going to
Steve.
stop the recording. Yeah, just
Okay.
because before anybody else shares. But yeah, Steve, please.
Okay.
Yeah.